Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be working with an Art Impressions stamp and die cut set, and this is called Magical Christmas. It is a trifold. So this is a little bit trickier than my usual card, but they have really great instructions on the back of the packaging. So I just followed that. I trimmed some Bristol smooth cardstock down to 4.5 by 11 inches. And then I scored at 3 5/8 inches in from each end of it. So that'll create the trifold base that you'll work on. So once you have all of your score lines done, you're going to fold it so that the right hand side comes in first, and then the left hand panel will go over top of that right hand panel. So as of right now, if you were to open the card, it would open like normal from right to left. So I'm stamping this first doorway stamp, and one thing I do want to mention that was a little bit tricky is when you stamp these first two images, you want to make sure to keep your baseline the same. So how I did that was I made sure that I kept the bottom line of the stamp exactly 5 blocks up on my grid that I use for my Misty. So however you want to do it, if you're working with a set like this, I would make sure that you keep that baseline the same for these first two stamps. It's going to make it much easier when you try to line up the second one. So there you can see I took that die, which is also included for the doorway, and I just went ahead and ran that through my Big Shot. Here I'm going to open up the door, and then I'm just going to lightly trace with my pencil that outline, and that's going to help me to line up where my fireplace is going to be. Again, I've counted up and made sure that the bottom of that fireplace stamp is exactly 5 blocks up on that Misty grid that I'm using, so that way I know it'll line up perfectly and you'll be able to see the scene really well. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that here. I am using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. And then it comes with another little die to cut out that fireplace center. So I'm going to line that up and run it through my Big Shot. So now I'm going to again just fold in that side of the card, and I will take my pencil and just lightly trace that opening. And I'm going to stick Santa there. I'm just making it so that he's peeking through the fireplace. Now this one I didn't line up the same because it's not the same height. So what I'm doing here is I just centered Santa's face in that opening, and then I'm using my Misty grid just to make sure that he is nice and straight. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And then I'm going to go back to my Misty grid, and I'm going to stamp the greeting that was included, which says, "May the magic of Christmas be yours." Then finally, I'm going to stamp out this wreath just so I can place that on the front of my door once everything's finished. And this also comes with a die cut, so you can cut that out really easily. And here you can see how everything fits together. At this point, I'm going to go ahead with the coloring, and I will turn up the music and just let you enjoy that for a while. I have sped this up quite a bit. I think I have it at about 6 times normal speed, so I'm kind of flying through there, but there were a lot of little details, so lots of little colors. I'm using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, and I will have a detailed list on my blog for you if you're curious what exact colors I used for which part of the scene. I'll have all that listed out for you there. Now that all my coloring is finished and I've let that dry really well, I actually went through and hit it with my heat gun. I'm going to go ahead with my Signo Uniball white gel pen and just add a few accents on each of the little pieces of the scene. I put some on the ornaments on the trees as well as the doorknob for the front scene, and then I am using that to sort of puff up that garland around the tree at the fireplace. And I'll add some lines to the stockings. Now, I didn't show you here, but once I finished these lines, they were a little too white for me. So I went ahead and went back to that dark green and just put that over, just a light touch of that to sort of tone it down slightly. And then finally on the inside of the card, I went ahead and added some white to all of the white parts on Santa's suit. I've gone ahead and cut out my wreath using the matching die, and I'm going to add just a few white dots to those holly berries. Then I'll use some mini glue dots and attach that to the front of my door. And here's a final look at how the card comes together. This was a bit more complicated than what I usually do, but it was a lot of fun, and if you follow the instructions, it's very easy to figure out. So if you're interested, I would definitely suggest you give it a try. You can find additional photos as well as a full list of supplies at my blog post listed in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.